In September 2001, in the shadow of an intense terror campaign against Israeli civilians, the UN-sponsored World Conference on Racism was held in Durban, South Africa. Having failed to destroy Israel with traditional warfare and terrorism, Israel's enemies turned to soft power. And the Durban Conference became the platform to set out a strategy for delegitimizing Israel through international isolation based on the South African model. Thousands of non-governmental organizations, NGOs, gathered ostensibly to promote human rights and decry racism. Instead, the NGOs rallied behind anti-Semitic imagery and slogans and demonization of Israel.
This was to be the first world conference against racism in the 21st century. It turned into a conference against racism and the Jewish people. In effect, Durban was the tipping point for the new anti-Semitism. It was in Durban that Israel was demonized as the major human rights violator of our time.
And it became the foundation for basically not just attacking Israel, but the final declaration that was adopted by 1,500 NGOs there to declare Israel to be an apartheid state, committing ethnic cleansing, committing war crimes, and to take the measures that were used in South Africa against apartheid in order to effect the complete international isolation of Israel. That was the beginning of BDS, boycotts, divestments, and sanctions. And the purpose there is to label Israel as the new South Africa.
Using the UN, the media, college campuses, and European parliaments as their battlefields, NGOs are often able to mask their anti-Israel, if not anti-Semitic, agendas. This non-governmental political warfare tragically receives millions of euros annually from European governments that think they are supporting democracy and human rights, but the real fact is they are not. They are funding anti-peace agendas. NGO Monitor is an independent research institute whose aim is to generate and distribute critical analysis and reports on the output of the international NGO community and its funders. Providing information and analysis, NGO Monitor promotes accountability for the benefit of government, journalists, philanthropic organizations, and the general public. By exposing the NGOs that hide their political agendas behind the facade of human rights issues and working directly with European funders, NGO Monitor has succeeded in reducing and reassigning tens of millions of euros away from anti-Israel and anti-peace NGOs. The Israeli government and officials across the political spectrum now recognize the threat posed by the Durban strategy of political warfare.
NGO Monitor makes an enormous difference because its goal is truth, its goal is exposure, its goal is accountability. And NGO Monitor does a phenomenal job in exposing the NGOs that are using their status to promote bigotry.